Hello everybody and welcome to our webinar Leap Ahead. My name is 𝗽liche𝗄𝗲𝗍𝗿, CEO of Nexustec. It's a pleasure for our team to have all of you here today. At Nexustec, we believe that every production is unique. This has been the driving force behind our efforts in recent years. With great success, we have implemented powerful solutions for companies such as BMW, Doosan, Babcat, Vitesco, and 𝗄𝗲𝗍𝗶𝗍. However, our expertise goes beyond the automotive into industries such as mechanical engineering and medtech. What does it mean in practice? Well, our AI software seamlessly integrates into your manual processes and links them to Industry 4.0. It offers a high degree of flexibility through customized algorithms. This leads to a significant reduction in error rates with minimal effort on your side. Now, let's leap into our webinar. Your hosts, Constance and Mark, will guide you through the event. Thanks for your participation, and we hope you gain good insights.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Nexustec's webinar, Leap Ahead. My name is Mark.
And my name is Constance. We will be your hosts for today's session.
Before we dive into the exciting content what we have prepared for you, let's take a look at the webinar structure. Firstly, you will get to know about Nexustec through an interview featuring our CEO 𝗪𝗻𝗄𝗍𝗍𝗿 and our CTO 𝘲𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 elaborate on the customer design language. This helps TRiMiTi to understand human-centric processes. In this webinar, we are also going to introduce you 4 of our products, namely Assembly Assistant, Automated Object Inspection, Packaging Assistant, and Screw-Fastening-Assistant.
In addition, we have also invited 2 customers today from Vitesco and Doosan Babcat, who will tell us about their experiences with our installed systems. We will also have the opportunity to learn more about Nexustec's screw fastening tool partner, 𝗄𝗲𝗍𝗿𝗲, through a panel discussion featuring their head of sales. Lastly, you will have the chance to ask some questions. So without any further ado, let's begin with today's session. The first question is for you. What is missing in Industry 4.0?
Well, in the field of Industry 4.0, there was a main focus in the past always on machinery and automated or semi-automated process flows, for example, with robots, etc. And in the end, the field of manual work hasn't been covered by these technologies. And we are going to do this with our software.
Saurabh, what is Nexustec's mission and what sets TRiMiTi apart from other solutions on the market?
At Nexustec, we understand that manual processes are critical to success of manufacturing industry. The worker, as Max explained, is disconnected from the rest of the automated and digitized processes. In Nexustec's solution TRiMiTi, we want to bring them together so that the worker becomes a part of digital work environment.
Max, what does 0 defects mean in manufacturing?
In every production, there's always a risk that you have unintended mistakes, and especially in the field of manual work. With our software-based approach of TRiMiTi, we ensure an absolute 100% process control.
Saurabh, last question for you. How user-friendly is the software, and what changes can customers expect in their existing processes?
In short, very. To go a little bit more in detail, the software is built around the concept of zero user interaction. That means even if we deploy a touchscreen or other HMI devices, the worker is not expected to interact with TRiMiTi during the processes. TRiMiTi is like a silent partner who's looking over your shoulder and making sure that unintentional mistakes are not carried over into the rest of the production.
And let us continue with the panel discussion of Gaurav and Saurabh.
At first, we will talk about how we cover various work steps. That allows us to bridge the gap that currently exists between manual manufacturing and industrial automation. TRiMiTi uses various sensors, camera being the primary sensor, like us humans, where we use our eyes the most. TRiMiTi can also use various other sensors that we will see in the coming discussion.
TRiMiTi is a modular system. It works with sensors, processing module, and a front end. The front end can work independently of the processing machine, which means we can show different screens to different users in the production line. The sensors can also be different in numbers depending on your use case. Some of our systems have 2 cameras, and some of the systems can also work with 5 or more cameras to do the job that they need to do.
The biggest unique selling point of TRiMiTi is that it can understand the process like a human being. We will see several examples in this webinar where TRiMiTi can be seen working with a human. To allow this seamless fusion of digital process control and manual processes, TRiMiTi has several products on offer, such as Screw-Fastening-Assistant, Assembly Assistant, Packaging Assistant, etc.
To enable these products, we have various modules in TRiMiTi. These modules can be classified into input, processing, and output. We can combine these modules into various workflows to enable the human worker to work any process, and TRiMiTi will act as a digital assistant to verify the work that is being done.
Saurabh, what role does machine learning play in the functionality of TRiMiTi?
Machine learning is the backbone in the functionality of TRiMiTi. Machine learning is essential for understanding various processes which are undertaken by humans. These processes can range widely from screw fastening to assembly, gluing, painting, etc. With machine learning in TRiMiTi, we can distinguish between different states and different positions of objects in the working environment, which allows TRiMiTi to understand what exactly is going on as if it's a human coworker.
What kind of support or training is provided to clients during the implementation phase?
Once we have identified the requirements from the client about their specific workflow, we can install TRiMiTi hardware in the assembly line. TRiMiTi can now start collecting the data. The data is always kept local to the machine, and during the data acquisition phase, we provide remote assistance and support to the clients on their processes. Once the data acquisition is complete, TRiMiTi can be configured to use that data to identify the workflow steps and to support the worker during production.
Thank you, Gaurav and Saurabh, for this insightful discussion. And now, let's take a look at 2 of our products, namely Automated Object Inspection and Packaging Assistant, with our software developer, 𝗙𝗲𝗍𝗍.
I'm standing here together with 𝗙𝗲𝗍𝗍, one of the software developers of Nexustec. Hello, 𝗙𝗲𝗍𝗍.
Hi, Mark.
What do you have for us today?
What we have here is an AOI wherein we will check for the orientation, the bent pins, and the scratches. Let's start with the orientation check.
So you demonstrated us one direction, and what about the different angles? For example, like this.
So TRiMiTi can check for different angles and orientation, and only once you place it in the right orientation, we move on to the verification of the next step, which is the bent pins. So TRiMiTi says OK. I'm going to place in another part, but there's a scratch on this part, so I'll place in another part. All checks good. Verification is complete now.
So as I understood well, the verification sequence plays an important role here. Is it also possible to implement it in a non-sequential way?
Yes, TRiMiTi is flexible. We can do sequential as well as non-sequential work orders, but this totally depends on what the customer needs.
All right. Thank you, 𝗙𝗲𝗍𝗍.
Thanks, Mark.
So now that you explained AOI for us, do you have also something else?
Yes, what we have next here is a packaging process. It assists the worker in picking the right part, placing it in the correct position before it's shipped out. So let's start by scanning this variant here.
So now you use a specific scanner. Is it also possible to connect any other scanners as well?
Yes, this is a Bluetooth handheld scanner, but we can also connect to any external devices as long as we know the interface, and then we can integrate it into our software.
Interesting.
Maybe you should do the packaging process.
Why not? I'll try my best. Okay, so now we have to place the blue variant, which you scanned before. And once I have that, then I can start with the different items.
Yes, and as you can see, this is a sequential process, but we can also do a non-sequential one.
All right. And now I'm missing some hinges. And now an error is occurred. Is it because of the wrong color?
Yes, that was a color detection check.
But is it also possible to detect any other features as well?
Yes, TRiMiTi can also check for different sizes, different variations, and different orientations, as we saw previously in the AOI demo.
So now that we know that, let's correct our last step with the right hinge. Okay, and that was the right silver hinge, so I can do another one. And I'm ready to close the box. So now we have a package without any misplacements and also the right items.
That's correct.
Thank you, 𝗄𝗲𝗍, for explaining.
Thanks, Mark.
Welcome to the first interview of today's session. I am pleased to introduce Dr. Sven Gleich, the team leader of Advanced Robotics at Vitesco Technologies. Vitesco Technologies stands as a leading international developer and manufacturer in innovative powertrain technologies for sustainable mobility. Nexustec recently implemented two of its systems at Vitesco's Nuremberg factory, an automated object inspection and a packaging tracking system. Before we begin, first of all, welcome Dr. Gleich, and I would like to thank you for joining our webinar in the form of an interview.
Thank you, it's an honor to me.
So, to start with our first question, how has TRiMiTi, our software, helped you track objects more easily in your inventory management?
We are using TRiMiTi in a very sensitive area. In the last production step, the electronic component gets flashed, tested, finally optical controlled and packed into the customer packaging. Depending on the before mentioned process steps, the part has to be put into the customer packaging or go into the rework loop. After this point, there is no further control, and if a not okay part gets into the customer packaging, this results usually into a line stop at the customer side. You may imagine the influence on our reputation and the costs connected to this incidents. By the help of TRiMiTi, we have a tool which is supporting the operator's work and checking if the part is put into the right place. Furthermore, it adds some features which we didn't have before. It tracks the filling level of the customer packaging and records every box. These features support our quality strategy and are handy for documentation purposes.
And after testing our software for 6 months, what feedback have you received from the employees?
As with nearly every automation on the shop floor, operators are quite skeptical in the beginning. If the clear advantage is not visible right away, people, of course, are afraid of losing their jobs. With TRiMiTi, it was a little bit different, since it was never planned to replace the operator, but to support him in his daily work. With nearly no intervention, the acceptance was quite high from the beginning. In 99.9% daily of the tasks, the operator does not recognize even the existence, but the remaining 0.1% are quite critical for us, and the people understand if we do not deliver 100% quality, it endangers our market position.
With an extensive testing involving 500,000 parts, did you notice an over-improvement in detecting errors in your product?
Yes, indeed. In the trial-out phase, the system was running in parallel to the previously installed workflow. There we detected 2 misplacements. The parts were removed in an additional process step right before shipping, and that was the proof of the design and the functionality.
Thank you, Dr. Gleich, for your time and the answers that you shared with us today.
Thank you for the invitation.
Next, we will introduce you to our Screw-Fastening-Assistant, explained by the software developer 𝗽cie𝘄𝗲𝗍𝗿.
I'm standing here with 𝗽cie𝘄𝗲𝗍𝗿, one of the software developers of Nexustec. Hello, 𝗽cie𝘄𝗲𝗍.
Hello, Mark.
So now we see here a Screw-Fastening-Assistant. What can you tell us about it?
Well, indeed, this is TRiMiTi Screw-Fastening-Assistant. It is a product that verifies screw fastening processes. It verifies that screws are fastened with the correct torque or angle and in the correct sequence. It also helps to prevent mistakes, since it locks the tool when it is not in the correct position.
So now I see a specific tool in your hand. Is it also possible to connect any different tools as well?
Well, this is a smart tool provided by 𝗄𝗲𝗍𝗿, but we can connect with a variety of tools, whether they communicate with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth.
That's good to know for sure. And what can we see here now?
So here we are in the training page where we define our workflows. Let's train a workflow of 2 screws real quick. 1. And 2. Now let's save our workflow.
So now that we trained a sequence on ourselves, is it also possible to train it by any other employee as well?
Well, of course, if you are authorized by your company, you can train it by yourself. As you saw, the procedure is very fast and very simple.
Interesting. And what is the next step now?
Now we need to go to the execution. Let's go. So Mark, here we are in the execution page. We have defined the workflow of 2 screws, as you can see on the screen, and we are ready to start fastening. If I go to the second screw, TRiMiTi will realize that it is a wrong position and will lock the tool. As you can see, nothing is happening. Only when I go to the first screw will the TRiMiTi unlock the tool and will be ready for fastening. Now the first screw is completed and I can go to the second one. That's it. Very simple.
So now that we completed our workflow, we can make sure that our screws are fastened in the right sequence and with the right torque value.
Correct. That's it. Very simple.
Thank you for explaining, Statis.
Thank you, Mark.
Nexustec collaborates with numerous partners, and today we have the opportunity to engage in a panel discussion with one of them. 𝗄𝗲𝗃, a leading specialist in high-performance electronic torque and angle tools. Joining us is Marlene Schedlbauer, Head of Sales at 𝗄𝗃. It's very nice to have you here. Thank you for visiting us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Let's dive right in. Why are tool tracking and checking sequence so important in the screw fastening process?
Ensuring accurate sequence and position is vital to prevent defective products. Errors in order or position lead to increased rework costs and potential customer claims, impacting overall product quality and satisfaction.
How is the Nexustec solution of passive optical markers an improvement?
In the industrial setting, passive markers excel due to reduced interference. Ultrasound noise and IR reflection, common in manufacturing environments, are mitigated by passive markers, enhancing reliability in position tracking for smart tools.
How can TDI markers make 𝗄𝗃 more attractive compared to the competition?
TDI tool data integration enhances 𝗄𝗃 tools' appeal by providing real-time insights into performance, maintenance needs, and efficiency. This data-driven approach increases tool reliability, reduces downtime, and improves overall customer experience.
Smart Tools work order and worker guidance. Is this a complete workspace for screw fastening?
Combining TRiMiTi's work orders with smart tools creates a comprehensive solution for screw fastening. This integration streamlines the entire process, from task assignment to tool usage, ensuring a cohesive workspace that increases efficiency and eliminates errors.
Thank you so much, Marlene, for joining us and answering our questions. We look forward to continuous cooperation with 𝗄𝗃. Thank you. Now we come to our final product of today, namely the Assembly Assistant, which will be explained by our CTO, Cyrille.
Welcome. We are standing once again in front of our smart desk. I'm standing here together with Cyrille, who is going to explain about our flagship product.
Yeah. So thanks, Mark. Rightly put, we are going to talk about Assembly Assistant in this segment, which, as you rightly put, our flagship product. And the reason why we call it our flagship product is because it includes all the features and functionalities that TRiMiTi can offer to our customers. So I would like to invite you to try out our demonstrator.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. It's supposed to be used for worker training. So I think it would be a good test for you and our audience how easy it is to work with TRiMiTi. So as you can see here on the screen, we have a workflow, which is nicely shown at the bottom, which tells you what you're supposed to do next. Then on the left side, we have the live view from the camera, which gives you a feedback of what the system is seeing. And on the right side, it shows you the following steps that you're supposed to follow. Don't worry, just take your time. The system is patient enough for you to work together with the system.
Okay, I think I have the 2 screws.
Perfect. Now you will be asked to connect a camera.
Yes.
Perfect. Now please connect an orange cable, and as you can see here, the system has automatically switched over to other camera because it needs to see the cable from a different point of view to make sure that you're inserting it in the correct pin. Perfect. And now it asks you to connect the display. Make sure you connect it in the correct position, otherwise the system will ask you to redo it. Perfect. And now you can see how easy it is to work with Assembly Assistant.
Thank you very much for explaining.
You're welcome, Mark.
Let us continue with the second interview of our webinar. I'm pleased to introduce Cyrille Piteau, the Automation and Digitalization Manager at Doosan Babcat. Doosan Babcat is a global manufacturer of construction equipment, such as compact loaders, excavators, telescope handlers, utility products, and attachments. Nexustec installed an assembly assistant at Doosan Babcat's training center in Dobris. Mr. Piteau, and thank you for joining our webinar.
Thank you for the invitations. I'm glad to be here.
So, to start with the first question, how does TRiMiTi have the workers at the assembly station?
The TRiMiTi system provides guidance and control on operations at station. Doosan Babcat assembly lines have a variety of options and machine specifications that brings a wide variety of manual assembly operations. So it makes it harder for human. Therefore, the solution like Nexustec helps to support completion and ensure process quality control. Zero defects. Also considering current issues with manpower market, it allows us to reduce the training time and skills requirements from operators to do their standard work.
And what are typical use cases in a production environment?
So far, operations on workstation, on production line, or sub-assemblies operations, process quality control, and also potentially we see the use of the AI with a combination of SCADA and tightening tools to enforce right use of tools and completion of tasks at the workstation.
And what is the big advantage of TRiMiTi? How is the feedback from the workers?
Only good feedback so far. I think the collaboration with Nexustec has been amazing, and the communication throughout proof of concept development was one of the components to make it a successful project. There is a raise of interest and real motivation to see how AI can support and bring new functionalities. Maybe things that were not possible or not thought in past can now be realized with such a solution. So the operative teams are challenging this technology and trying to find out boundaries to which operations it can be deployed.
We are really happy to hear that, and thank you for your time and the answers that you shared with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention.